The morning alarm rings loud across the Galactic Military Academy. Jake Miller opens his eyes and looks around his small room. Through his window, he can see the giant space station spinning slowly against the stars. This place is his home now, but it never feels like it. Jake gets dressed in his gray cadet uniform. The fabric feels rough against his skin. He checks his schedule on the small screen beside his bed. Today is the big day. Commander Vex will announce the teams for the final war simulation. In the dining hall, Jake sits alone at a corner table. Around him, alien cadets talk loudly about their plans. The Zephyrians wave their forearms while discussing battle tactics. The rock-like Cronians grunt in their deep voices. Everyone seems to know exactly what they want to do after graduation. Jake eats his breakfast quietly. He knows what others think about humans. They call his people slow and stupid. They say humans only got into space by accident. Most aliens think humans will never be real soldiers. "Look at the lonely human," a voice says behind Jake. He turns around and sees Zextar walking toward him. The tall alien's skin glows bright blue. This means he feels happy and confident. Zextar is the best cadet in the academy. He comes from the planet Velthan, where everyone is smart and fast. His people have been traveling between stars for thousands of years. They built great cities and won many wars. Zextar never fails any test. All the teachers love him. "Are you ready to embarrass yourself again today?" Zextar asks. His skin changes to purple, which means he thinks something is funny. Other cadets start to gather around them. Jake says nothing. He learned long ago that talking back only makes things worse. He finishes his food and starts to walk away. "Running away, human?" Zextar calls out. "That's what your kind does best." The other cadets laugh. Jake feels his face turn red, but he keeps walking. In the hallway, he passes other human cadets. There are only 12 humans in the whole academy. Most of them look as tired as Jake feels. The war simulation classroom is huge. Giant screens cover every wall. In the center, there are 50 chairs, arranged in circles. Each chair has computers and controls built into the arms. This is where cadets learn to command space fleets and plan battles. Commander Vex stands at the front of the room. He is a Thorian, which means he looks like a giant lizard that walks on two legs. His species is known for being fair, but tough. He has trained cadets for 30 years. "Today you will work in teams of 4, Commander Vex announces. His voice sounds like rocks grinding together. "Each team will control a fleet in our most difficult simulation. You will fight against other teams and against the computer." Jake sits in the back row. He hopes to get placed with other humans, or at least with aliens who don't hate his species. But he knows that hope is probably useless. "Team Alpha, Commander," Vex reads from his list. Zextar from Velthon, Crix from Zephyr Prime, Thok from Cronia, and... He pauses and looks around the room. Jake Miller from Earth. Jake's heart sinks. Several cadets start to whisper and giggle. Zextar's skin flashes bright red, which means he is angry. "Commander?" Zextar says, standing up. "With respect, my team needs cadets who can keep up with advanced tactical thinking. Perhaps the human would be better suited for a different assignment." Commander Vex's yellow eyes narrow. "Are you questioning my judgment, Cadet Zextar?" "No, sir," Zextar says quickly. "I just want our team to succeed." "Then you will work with the team I have given you," Commander Vex replies. "Unless you think you are not capable of leading effectively." Zextar sits down hard. His skin turns dark gray, which means he feels frustrated. The other cadets in his team, Crix and Thok, exchange worried looks. Jake walks over to join his new team. The other 3 cadets barely look at him. They immediately start talking about strategy, speaking so fast that Jake can hardly follow their words. "We'll use the Velthani diamond formation," Zextar says. "Crix, your people's speed will be perfect for flanking maneuvers. Thok, Cronian ships are built for heavy assault. You'll lead the main attack." "What about me?" Jake asks quietly. Zextar finally looks at him. "You can monitor communications. Try not to touch anything important." Crix makes a sound that passes for laughter among his people. Maybe he can count our ships. Humans are good at simple math, right? Jake nods and says nothing. He has learned that arguing with alien cadets is like trying to stop a meteor with his bare hands. It only ends in pain. The team spends the next hour planning their strategy. Jake listens carefully, taking notes on his computer pad. He notices several problems with their plan, but he knows better than to speak up. Every time he has tried to give suggestions in the past, aliens have either ignored him or made fun of him. As the preparation time ends, Commander Vex addresses the class again. Remember, this simulation will count for 30% of your final grade. The winning team will receive special recognition and first choice of assignments after graduation. Jake looks around at his teammates. Zextar is studying star charts. Crix is reviewing ship specifications. Thok is calculating weapon ranges. None of them seem to remember that Jake exists, but Jake is watching and learning. He sees things that his teammates miss. His human brain works differently than alien minds. While they focus on showing off their individual skills, Jake thinks about the bigger picture. The simulation is about to begin, and Jake Miller is ready to surprise everyone. The lights in the classroom dim. The giant screens come alive with stars and planets. Jake feels his chair vibrate as the simulation starts. Around him, other cadets lean forward in excitement. This is what they have trained for. Welcome to the Kepler system, Commander Vex announces. Your mission is simple. Capture 3 space stations and hold them for 1 hour. Destroy the enemy fleet. Protect your home base. The team with the most points wins. Jake looks at his small computer screen. It shows him supply ships, fuel levels, and communication channels. This is his job while the others get to command warships and plan attacks. He tries not to feel disappointed. Team Alpha, you are the Blue Fleet, the computer voice says. Your home base is the mining station on Kepler 7. Zextar immediately takes control. His fingers fly over his controls. On the main screen, blue ships appear around a large space station. Crix, take your fast ships to Station 1. Thok, bring your heavy cruisers to Station 2. I will capture Station 3 with the main fleet. What about our defense? Jake asks quietly. The human asks a good question, Thok says in his deep voice. Cronians always speak slowly and think carefully. Should we not leave some ships to guard our base? Zextar's skin flashes yellow, which means he feels impatient. Cowards worry about defense. We win by attacking fast and hard. Trust me, I have studied every battle in galactic history. Jake wants to argue, but he stays quiet. On his screen, he can see enemy red ships moving in the distance. Something about their movement bothers him, but he cannot figure out what. The battle begins. Crix's ships zoom toward the first station like silver arrows. They move so fast that enemy ships cannot hit them. Within minutes, the station belongs to the Blue Fleet. Excellent, Zextar says. His skin glows bright blue with happiness. Thok, begin your assault. Thok's heavy ships lumber toward Station 2. Their thick armor bounces off enemy laser fire. Their huge cannons blast enemy ships into pieces. Soon the second station also falls to the Blue Fleet. Jake watches his screens carefully. Supply ships move back and forth, bringing fuel and weapons to the fighting ships. Communication channels carry orders and reports. But something is wrong. The enemy is not fighting as hard as they should. Zextar, Jake says through his microphone. I think the enemy is pulling back on purpose. Look at their movement patterns. I am busy winning a war, Zextar snaps. Watch your supply numbers and leave strategy to your superiors. On the main screen, Zextar's ships approach the third station. Enemy ships retreat before them. It looks like an easy victory. Other cadets in the classroom start to whisper about how smart Zextar is, but Jake keeps watching his communications screen. Enemy radio signals are moving in a strange pattern. They are not random. There is a purpose behind them that Jake cannot quite understand. Station 3 is ours, Zextar announces proudly. His skin shimmers with all the colors of victory. As I predicted, superior tactics win the day. That is when Jake sees it. On his supply screen, a cluster of red dots appears behind their captured stations. Enemy ships, lots of them coming from empty space. They must have been hiding behind an asteroid field. Enemy reinforcements, Jake calls out. Behind us, coming fast. Impossible, Zextar says. My sensors show nothing. They are using communication jamming, Jake explains quickly. I can see them on the supply network, but your tactical screens cannot. Before Zextar can answer, enemy ships pour out of hiding. They are everywhere at once. Jake counts at least 50 ships, maybe more. They surround the Blue Fleet's captured stations. This is a trap, Crick shouts over the radio. His fast ships are caught between two enemy groups. We are surrounded. Zextar's skin turns dark red with anger and fear. How did they hide so many ships? This is not possible with our technology. Jake looks at his screens again. Now he understands. They used our own communication network against us. Every time we captured a station, we connected to their computers. They could see everything we were doing. Ridiculous, Zextar says, but his voice sounds less confident now. Humans do not understand advanced technology. The enemy attack begins. Ships that seemed weak before now fight with new strength. They know exactly where to hit the Blue Fleet. They attack the fuel ships first, then the weapon supply vessels. Soon Zextar's mighty warships start to run out of power. We need to retreat, Thok says. His heavy ships are taking damage from all sides. Regroup and make a new plan. We do not retreat, Zextar shouts. We are Velthani. We do not show weakness. Jake watches in horror as their fleet falls apart. Ships explode in bright flashes. Stations that they captured only minutes ago fall back into enemy hands. All of Zextar's careful planning means nothing now. Let me help, Jake says desperately. I can see things on my screens that you cannot. Silence, Zextar orders. With a quick movement, he turns off Jake's communication channel. Now the human cadet cannot talk to the team at all. But Jake does not give up. He still has access to the supply network. He cannot command ships or give orders, but he can move fuel and weapons. He can change communication channels. He can do small things that might make a big difference. Quietly, Jake begins to work. While his teammates panic and shout at each other, he starts to put together a plan of his own. It is not the kind of plan that Zextar would understand. It is not fast or flashy, but it might just work. The battle is far from over. Jake works fast on his computer screen. He cannot talk to his teammates, but he can still control supplies. He watches as enemy ships destroy more Blue Fleet vessels. Zextar keeps shouting orders, but nothing works. The trap is too perfect. While the battle rages, Jake studies the enemy movements. He notices something interesting. The Red Fleet commander attacks just like Zextar thinks. Fast strikes, overwhelming force, quick victories. This tells Jake that the enemy commander is probably also a Velthani. Jake opens a new screen and starts looking at old Academy records. He finds what he needs. The Red Fleet is commanded by Krivol, a Velthani cadet from the senior class. Jake has seen him before. Krivol is proud and confident, just like Zextar. This gives Jake an idea. First, he needs to save what is left of his fleet. Jake quietly starts moving fuel ships away from the battle. He sends them to safe areas where enemy ships cannot see them. He also moves weapon supplies to small asteroids throughout the system. Where are our supplies? Thok asks over the radio. His heavy ships are almost out of ammunition. Supply lines are damaged, Zextar lies. He does not want to admit that he cannot control the situation. We must fight with what we have. Jake feels bad about not helping Thok directly, but he has a bigger plan. He needs the enemy to think they are winning completely. He needs them to become careless. On his screen, Jake watches Krivol's ships celebrate their victories. They group together around the 3 captured stations. They think the battle is almost over. This is exactly what Jake hoped would happen. Quietly, Jake starts the second part of his plan. He begins sending false messages through the communication network. He makes it look like the Blue Fleet is preparing to surrender. He creates fake radio signals that sound like scared human voices calling for help. Please do not destroy us, one fake message says. We give up. We cannot fight anymore. Jake knows that Velthani culture values honor in battle. They like to win with style and grace. If Krivol thinks he has completely defeated the Blue Fleet, he will want to accept their surrender in a dramatic way. Sure enough, Krevold takes the bait. His ships start moving into a grand formation around the Blue Fleet's home base. They want to force a surrender ceremony. They want to show off their victory. While the enemy repositions their ships, Jake activates the third part of his plan. All those supply ships he moved earlier start heading toward predetermined positions. Fuel depots hidden in asteroids suddenly become refueling stations. Weapon caches scattered across the system turn into ammunition supplies. Jake works for 20 minutes without anyone noticing. His fingers move quickly across his controls. He is building something that no one expects, a supply network that can support a completely different kind of battle. "What are you doing?" asks a voice behind him. Jake turns around. Lisa Parker, a human cadet from another team, is looking at his screen. Her team finished their simulation early and she is watching other battles. "I cannot tell you," Jake whispers. "But in 5 minutes, watch what happens to the Blue Fleet." Lisa nods and moves away. Jake turns back to his work. Everything is ready now. All he needs is the right moment. That moment comes when Krevold makes his final mistake. The Red Fleet commander wants to capture the Blue Fleet's remaining ships instead of destroying them. He orders his vessels to surround the human base and demand surrender. "Attention, Blue Fleet," Krevold's voice booms across the communication system. "You have fought bravely, but you are defeated. Surrender now, and we will show mercy." Zextar's skin turns pale gray. He knows the simulation is lost. We accept your terms," he says quietly. But Jake is not ready to surrender. With a quick movement, he turns his communication system back on. "Actually," he says into his microphone, "we are just getting started." Before anyone can stop him, Jake activates his hidden supply network. Suddenly, Blue Fleet ships that were almost dead begin to come back to life. Fuel flows to empty engines. Weapons reload with fresh ammunition. Ships that looked ready to explode suddenly start moving again. "What is happening?" Zextar shouts, staring at his control panel. His ships are responding to commands he never gave. "I am happening," Jake says calmly, "and I am taking command of this fleet." In the space simulation, something amazing begins to unfold. The Blue Fleet ships do not attack the way anyone expects. Instead of charging at the enemy, they start to spread out in a strange pattern. They move slowly and carefully like hunters stalking prey. Jake has studied human military history. He knows about battles where smaller forces defeated larger armies through patience and clever positioning. Now he uses those lessons in space. "Crix," Jake says over the radio, "take your fast ships and start hit-and-run attacks on their supply lines. Do not stay and fight. Hit them and run away." "Why should I listen to a human?" Crix asks. "Because the human just brought your dead ships back to life," Thok rumbles. The big Cronian sounds impressed. "I will follow his orders." Jake smiles. Finally, someone is listening to him. "Thok, position your heavy ships behind Asteroid Field 7. Wait for my signal. Zextar." "I will not take orders from a primitive." Zextar interrupts. "Then stay out of my way," Jake replies. For the first time in the simulation, Jake feels confident. He has been underestimated by everyone, including his own teammates. But now he has a chance to show what humans can really. The enemy fleet starts to realize something is wrong. Their easy victory is becoming a confusing battle. Ships they thought were destroyed keep appearing in unexpected places. Supply lines they thought were safe come under attack. Krevold's voice sounds angry over the radio. "This is impossible. The Blue Fleet was defeated." "Humans do not stay defeated," Jake says quietly to himself. "The real battle is just beginning." Jake's plan unfolds like a deadly flower. The Blue Fleet ships move in patterns that confuse the enemy. They do not charge forward like typical warriors. Instead, they flow around obstacles like water, always staying just out of reach. Crix follows Jake's orders perfectly. His fast ships dart in and out of enemy formations, hitting supply vessels and disappearing before anyone can catch them. Each attack is small, but together they cause big problems for the Red Fleet. Their fuel ships are under constant attack, Thok reports. His deep voice sounds pleased. Enemy ships are starting to slow down. Jake watches his screens carefully. The Red Fleet is getting frustrated. They try to chase Crix's ships, but this spreads their forces thin. They try to group together for protection, but this makes them slow and predictable. Kreval is making the same mistakes as Zextar, Jake says to himself. He thinks like a Velthani. Fast attack, overwhelming force, quick victory. But what if the enemy refuses to be overwhelmed quickly? On the main classroom screen, other cadets watch in amazement. The Blue Fleet looked completely defeated 30 minutes ago. Now they are fighting back in ways no one has ever seen before. How? Is this possible? Asks Yexandra, a cadet from another team. The human ships were almost destroyed. Wait and see, Lisa Parker whispers back. She is still watching Jake work his magic. Jake opens a communication channel to Kreval. Red, Fleet Commander, this is Blue Fleet. Do you want to surrender now? Kreval's angry voice fills the classroom. Surrender? You have only a few broken ships left. I have 3 times your numbers. Numbers are not everything, Jake replies calmly. Let me show you something. Jake gives a hand signal to Thok. The big Cronian's heavy ships emerge from behind the asteroid field, but they do not attack the main Red Fleet. Instead, they target the 3 captured stations. What are you doing? Zextar asks. His skin flashes confused colors. Those stations give us points. We need to capture them, not destroy them. No, Jake explains patiently. We need to win the war. Sometimes you have to lose small battles to win the big one. Thok's ships blast the space stations with their heavy cannons. The stations explode in brilliant flashes. Suddenly, the Red Fleet loses their safe harbors. They have no place to refuel or repair their ships. Impossible, Kreval shouts. You just destroyed your own objectives. I destroyed your advantages, Jake corrects. Now we fight in open space where human tactics work best. The Red Fleet tries to regroup, but Jake is ready for them. He has been studying their patterns for an hour. He knows exactly what they will do next. Crix attack their left flank in exactly 3 minutes, Jake orders. Thok hit their center in 5 minutes. I want them to think we are making 2 separate attacks. What is the real attack? Thok asks. Jake smiles. There is no attack. We are going to make them attack us, exactly where we want them to. The plan works perfectly. Crix hits the left side of the Red Fleet. They turn to fight him. Thok attacks the center. They split their forces to meet both threats. This is exactly what Jake expected. Now the Red Fleet is spread out and confused. They are chasing targets in 3 different directions. Their careful formations are broken. Their overwhelming numbers mean nothing because they cannot bring their full strength to bear in any one place. Now, Jake says quietly, we spring the real trap. All the supply ships that Jake moved earlier suddenly reveal their true purpose. They are not just carrying fuel and weapons, they are carrying mines, lots and lots of mines. Space around the Red Fleet suddenly fills with explosions. Mines that Jake planted hours ago activate all at once. Enemy ships find themselves trapped in a maze of deadly obstacles. This is cheating, Kreval screams over the radio. You cannot use supply ships as weapons. Commander Vex's voice cuts through the noise. All tactics used are within regulations. The simulation continues. Jake keys his microphone. Kreval, you made one big mistake. You assumed that humans fight like other species. We do not. We fight to win, not to look good doing it. The battle becomes a rout. Red Fleet ships try to escape the minefield, but Jake has planned for this too. Every escape route leads to another trap. Ships that avoid the mines run into Crix's fast attackers. Ships that fight Crix get hit by Thok's heavy guns. In 20 minutes, the mighty Red Fleet is reduced to scattered survivors. They cannot fight effectively. They cannot retreat safely. They cannot even surrender properly because they do not know who is in charge of the Blue Fleet anymore. Simulation complete, the computer announces. Blue Fleet wins with highest score in Academy history. The classroom falls silent. On the main screen, the final scores appear. The Blue Fleet has not just won. They have achieved a perfect victory. 0 friendly losses in the final phase. Complete destruction of enemy forces. All objectives secured. Commander Vex stands up slowly. His yellow eyes study the data on his personal screen. In 30 years of teaching, he says in his gravelly voice, and I have never seen tactics like these. Jake sits back in his chair. He feels tired but satisfied. Around him, alien cadets stare with new respect. Even Zextar looks impressed, though his skin shows embarrassed orange colors. Cadet Miller, Commander Vex continues, please explain your strategy to the class. Jake stands up. His legs feel shaky, but his voice is steady. Commander, I realize that everyone expected humans to fight like other species. Fast attacks, direct confrontation, superior technology. But humans evolved differently. He walks to the front of the classroom. My people survived by being patient hunters. We track our prey for days. We exhaust them. We wait for the perfect moment to strike. In space, this means controlling supplies, understanding psychology, and thinking several moves ahead. The minefield was brilliant, Commander Vex says. How did you know the enemy would move into those positions? I studied Velthani battle tactics, Jake explains. They always try to regroup in the same formations. It is in their nature. Once I understood their patterns, I could predict where they would go. Zextar finally speaks. His skin shows humble blue colors. I apologize, Jake. I was wrong about humans. About you. Jake nods. We all have different strengths. Maybe next time we can work together instead of against each other. As the class ends, cadets gather around Jake with questions and congratulations. For the first time since arriving at the academy, he feels like he belongs. That evening, Jake receives a message on his personal communicator. It is from Admiral Hayes, the highest-ranking human in the Galactic Fleet. Cadet Miller, the message reads, we need to talk. Humans have been hiding our true capabilities for too long. It is time the galaxy learned what we can really do. Jake looks out his window at the stars. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but tonight he feels proud. He has shown that humans deserve respect in this galaxy. The age of underestimating humanity is over.